Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about the government of Canada now mandating electric vehicles for everyone. Let's get into it. So today on December 21st, 2022, it's almost 2023, I can't believe it, but the government of Canada today announced that in just a few years, they're going to mandate that 100% of the vehicles sold in Canada must be electric vehicles, or else manufacturers, importers will be penalized. So, in this document or announcement that the government put out, it's called Let It Roll. The government of Canada moves to increase the supply of electric vehicles for Canadians. They try to make it sound like it's there to help you. But really, it's just reducing your choice. So let's get into it. So it says electric vehicles not only help keep our air clean, they can help families save money on monthly bills too. Rising and unpredictable world oil prices and the growing desire by Canadians to lower their environmental footprint has more households and businesses looking to get off the gasoline and diesel roller coaster by making the switch to zero emissions vehicles. When Canadians go to buy a new car, the government of Canada is taking action to put more electric vehicles on the roads. So the document goes on to say, today, the Honorable Steven Guilbeault, Minister of Environment and Climate Change, announced that the Government of Canada has published proposed regulations that set electric vehicle sales targets for manufacturers and importers of new passenger cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. So this is where the meat of what is going on. And the government is laying this out in plain language. This is what they hope to do with these regulations if they do pass. And right now, it kind of seems like it would. The NDP would be on this. Conservatives don't really have enough say to really do anything about this. So the government says the regulations will require that at least 20% of new vehicles sold in Canada will be zero emissions by 2026. At least 60% by 2030 and 100% by 2035. So just in a little more than 10 years, Canadians are going to be expected, and sellers, manufacturers, importers are going to be expected to only have electric vehicles on the market. I just don't see how this makes any sense. It doesn't make sense. And I would be curious to know, would this include just new vehicles, or is it also going to eventually include like the used car market? Because it's not exactly clear. So in this announcement, it seems like they're trying to justify why these regulations are coming about. And the government says that these targets will help increase the supply so that Canadians who want an electric vehicle can buy one. Because right now, with the supply chain issues and just it not being as popular for the manufacturers to be making electric vehicles, because later in the document talks about how in the past this year in 2022, electric vehicles and hybrids only accounted for 7.2% of all new sales or all new car registrations. So it seems like a way that they're trying to push the manufacturers and importers. Well, it's not. It seems it is a way to push the manufacturers and importers to really only have this type of thing on the market. And when they are going to have these sales targets, you bet that when you go to buy a new car, they're not going to be showing you the gas or the diesel engine vehicles. They're going to be showing you the electric vehicles, because the government has made it quite clear that if these importers and these manufacturers don't meet these sales targets, they are going to be the ones penalized. It's not really going to be the consumer who's making their choice. It's going to be the person who is trying to sell the consumer what the government is mandating them to sell the consumer. So trying to capitalize off of the record high gasoline prices Canadians have been facing, Steven Guilbeault says of these new regulations that zero emission vehicles are where the rubber hits the road for cost conscious Canadians who want to help the environment while getting off the roller coaster of high gasoline prices. With Canada's deep experience in auto parts manufacturing, vehicle assembly, and with all of the critical minerals needed for batteries found here, Canada is well positioned to be the leader in making the vehicles that the world is looking to drive. With electric vehicles, we can cut pollution, create jobs, make life more affordable for families across the country. But what doesn't square up for me is that he consistently is saying that these are the cars that people want to drive. Why is it that Canadians who did new car registrations only accounted with in the inclusion of hybrid vehicles, which are not full electric vehicles, so I don't think should be included in that estimate. We should know the real number of what is actually the full electric, which is only 7.2%. So in just 3 years' times, they want to more than double that to 20% mandated. These are just sort of like things that maybe there are definitely people who want electric cars. I understand why someone wants an electric car, but this is also a question of choice. Should people be mandated to buy something that maybe doesn't fit their lifestyle? I mean, right now we're seeing in Alberta and all across Canada these crazy cold temperatures. And I know people who are proponents of electric vehicles say that like the batteries are fine in this weather, but this is like extreme weather events. I don't know exactly how that works out, but that does put a strain on the system. Maybe puts a strain on how long your car can move. I don't know. I just see with Canada especially being the case because of the weather components, that could be a problem. So then in an article from the Toronto Sun, Steven Guilbeault's parliamentary secretarian said during the announcement that the new target is about making sure that Canadians have access to the vehicles they want. We don't know what cars they want. I think people just want a car because I don't know about you. I was trying to get a new vehicle. It's really, really hard. Even to get a used car, it's quite hard. It's getting a little easier now, but it's still not that easy for any car across the board. And then in the article, it also says, which was not in the announcement, that manufacturers or importers who don't meet the sales targets could face penalties under the Canadian Environmental Protection Act through a phased-in approach. So we're not sure what happens, but supposedly, if these importers and manufacturers are not able to hit these sales targets, it looks like they're going to be penalized by the government. They'll be penalized for not being able to get Canadians to buy the cars that Steven Guilbeault says they want. But if they wanted them, wouldn't they get the car they wanted if it's now available to them? I don't know. That's his logic, not mine. And the government is saying, but hey, Canadians, if you don't like this, Canadians are invited to submit their feedback on the proposed regulations during the 75 consultation period. And then the final regulations are expected to be published in 2023. So this is something that even if Canadians, by and large, might not really want or approve of, they're still going to go forward. They might make tweaks and changes, but we should expect, and Canadians should expect, that by 2035, every single car, new car at least, that is sold in Canada will be an electric vehicle. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments, and please subscribe, like this video, share it if you want, and you can follow me everywhere at The Marie Oaks. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.